Everything I do is wrong. Water's rising, can't get across. Somebody call my boss. Boats up the river on the bank of sand. Ooh, carry me to dry land. 'Cause I woke up in the belly of a whale, trying to swim like hell, like losing your brakes, baby, going downhill in the rain. Ooh, here comes the pain. Everything I do is wrong. Everything I have soon be gone. It's a low down feeling just hanging on. Everything I do is wrong. Like a prodigal son returning, I want on mine today. And I keep telling myself the made up stories. Oh, I can win. I can't win. Going down the road, baby, can't turn around. Oh, the sun is going down. Mighty dark road, baby, and I'm caught outside. We're gonna take a ride. 'Cause it's harder than hard, baby, on a man. Let me see you clap your hands. 'Cause the times get tough, baby, might get worse. Reverse, reverse, cha-cha one time now. Everything I do is wrong. Everything I have is turned out wrong. It's a low down feeling just hanging on. Everything I do is wrong. Everything I do, Lord, I do is wrong. Mr. Make It Worse, same as a first.
Pat Sweany
Chris Frasco.
on the East Nashville podcast. This is so cool.
Here I are. Here's
Yeah.
to you, my friend.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, cheers.
Yeah.
Lovely.
All right. So
Cheers to the barley.
I was listening to your new single on the way home.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, tell me about it.
The new single, that would be Ain't It Hell?
Ain't
That
It
one?
Hell,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's off of my new record that it comes out August 1st. Tell you about the new single. What do you? I was told there would be no questions.
I'm sorry.
sorry.
I've already
When
violated the contract.
no comment.
When did you write it?
That song, I wrote it in some form or another. I wrote that song in like between 2020 and 2023, I guess.
Okay.
And then,
One of those stubborn ones that had yet to
I
come
just
back
hadn't
to.
found, I took it through a bunch of keys, took it through a bunch of arrangements, and then just sort of had to back burner it.
Yeah.
And then it was just sort of like, it was like, I like the thing, I like the way, but it was always this very kind of, it's a lot more sort of country, and like, not like country, like that, but like old timey kind of phrasing, at least the melody of it,
Yeah.
I always thought of that, and sort of the meter of it. and that I did, but it always worked. It was like that was the hook, the hook of this, the chorus is "Ain't It Hell Getting Old," and and the doubles the melody on the guitar, and so we got into McKinley Smay, who engineered, and who was my partner in the Tiger Beats.
Of course.
But in his and his dad Jason's studio above their garage in Hendersonville, they've sort of built this, like, it's the attic of a barn basically.
That's so
and it's
cool.
Like Sun Records in there. I mean, they've got it all acoustic tiled, and it's nice. I mean, those guys. There's a Hammond organ up there, and there's a vintage drum set and ribbon mics, and we're going into Dave Gonzalez's old Altec board, the solid state one it's fantastic sounding board,
Yeah.
right into Pro Tools.
Hell yeah.
And we're using Pro Tools like a tape machine, We've
For
got
sure.
tape machines, I, sort of wrote all these songs on a Tascam 388, kind of with my little, Ace Tone drum machine, and I wrote them all in, on that, and then but got in the studio, and it sort of took on more of a funky kind of Faces almost kind of vibe.
It's interesting because you
a
and
little
I
more soul to it, I guess, in the moment, which I hadn't really thought of taking it, I guess it doesn't make sense unless you've heard the song. So hopefully when people hear it, you can hear it.
Exactly.
It has been released.
Yes.
So
Ain't It Hell by Patrick Sweany. Check it out.
Thank you. No further questions.
It's funny, you and I usually sit around as a couple of guitar dorks. But it's our first, and this is exactly...
As opposed to this?
Well, this is exactly why we started this podcast. Me and Phil actually...
Guitar Dorks was taken,
Yes.
they're the domain. Someone already purchased the domain.
It's so me and Phil actually hang out because we're both workaholics, and we won't hang out unless we both have to work. And so this is our job tonight, so we're going to hang out. And so,
There's working on you, baby.
I'm working on them hard. It's so funny. I feel like I have so many, what I would call good friends in Nashville. You're somebody I would consider a good friend. I don't know fucking
Likewise.
shit about you, dude. We just dork out sometimes. We have a couple of drinks, and that's what's great about this podcast. I think
it's a real testament to our community, though.
Yeah.
And our sort of our clubhouse, the 5 spot.
Without a doubt.
Without a dare of being that, We're definitely insiders as far as that thing, whether it's, through persistence of or just being there. We both hold down residencies there.
Yeah.
So I know you're not, some asshole, you're a particular type of asshole.
There you go.
I knew you were going to come at me with that. So I'll just get it on the table. I'm just saying this, but no, that thing of you got to, if you hold down a residency in Nashville, you embrace a certain fatalism about and perspective, and I don't mean those as negative terms or anything like that. I mean just like that you understand what it is, what you have to contribute, just to get people. We live in Nashville, live in the east side of Nashville, which is really the coolest part of town.
Yeah,
it's
and
the only
so
place.
many things to do,
and there's so much more things to do, and and you can say, "Oh, it's all Jennifer, no, right there," but man, it's what happens to cities, Yeah. You ever heard a place called Brooklyn? It just happens, man. And, I can either bitch about it or I can, try to enjoy it as much as I can and, and reap the benefits of it. When I came to town, no one would talk to me. There would be no even thought of a traditional blues residency at the 5 spot every week.
Yeah.
That would be unheard of. No one would even think. It took 10 years to put the band together.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. On my end, just a very narrow thing.
Yeah.
But as you get like that, and also because of the social nature of what we do, you tend to our group of friends, you tend to open up faster, I think, and people tend to see your behavior in action versus, what you're,
exactly.
putting out there.
Exactly.
The coat you're wearing, the costume, you're trying on, whatever.
Yeah, there's so much more I know I can hang out with this person. You know, maybe we're not going to have a deep talk over a band that's blaring at us, but you know, it's the camaraderie. It's the, like you said, the clubhouse. That
right.
vibe.
It very much is that thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, and we also have a lot of mutual friends too, who are
Yes.
like guys like like Mark Robertson, who I've known for forever and ever. And
man, I went to see him last night at Layla's with David Graham.
oh yeah, what a killer band!
Fantastic. Yeah.
I think Tony's back on drums.
Tony was on drums.
Fantastic
I
drummer.
think a young guy named John on keys was great, but I had never
They
seen.
got a keys guy. That's cool.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're doing that for the home gigs or they're doing it all the time.
I think they're doing it all the time.
Oh, that's badass.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
I had never seen Mark so committed to like a theatrical role. It was so much fun.
Oh man, have you ever seen him? Did you ever see the Shack Shakers?
No, I never saw the Shack Shakers.
Oh, dude, they were the best.
Oh, I've heard.
I mean, that era. I mean, like maybe one of the best rock bands like I'd ever seen live. Like I just blow me the fuck away.
Yeah.
And and Mark was a huge part of their like visual thing and just holding it down. And then I also heard he's writing tons of the if not all the music, and like finding all that later while riding bikes with them and stuff. But like that's they were so fucking powerful. I mean, they just nobody wanted to go on after them. Every time they went on, just absolutely just left nothing up there.
Yeah.
Like, and still was somehow connected to like the roots. Like it was also just very, very strange, but put out there that everyone heard every fucking note, everything. It was loud punk rock, fucking throw down, goddamn.
Yeah.
Music you could mosh to, whatever, but then it was also had all this roots to it, and just real powerful performers.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, they were amazing. They were an amazing band, and I see that when I see a component of that Mark is just that's the thing he turns on when he's playing with David.
Yeah, yeah,
and it's great.
The last few weeks he's been playing in my band.
It happened.
It is.
I figured it was a matter of time.
It's so
sing
funny.
it, Brooke Benton.
I was so afraid of Mark for so long.
He's terrifying.
Yeah,
he's terrifying.
What is he? 6'8"?
Yeah, he's a fucking.
He towers
he's
over
a giant.
You.
He's the driest sense of humor. Yeah,
exactly.
Like there, and done everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Like every inch of like the music. I mean, this is the Mark Robertson podcast now.
Yeah.
But like there, but like yeah, I think he came to town like as like writing Christian music and
he
like
did,
that,
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Mark.
You're obviously not a Christian. Just stop it.
Yeah, it's perspective. Well,
Yeah, it's been
Melville
wild.
didn't harpoon no whales.
Yeah. It was so crazy. The first time I played on stage with him, we did a trio thing, and I'm thinking like, all right, I can't let Mark down. I can't let Mark down. I got to do real good tonight.
Why don't you just?
I can't let Mark down.
Why are you thinking these things?
Because if it's not that, I'm thinking, oh, that guy in the front row, he looks interested in what I'm doing. I can't let him down.
Why, Chris? Why?
Because I'm
why? No one.
Nobody cares. Yeah.
The last thing that someone thinks about is someone else.
Whoa.
It's the last thing that someone will think about.
We're going to make a clip of that. I'm going to send it to Afton Wolf because his episode, he was just life lesson after profound phrase after life lesson. It was awesome. But say that again.
The last thing someone thinks of is someone else.
Damn. It's so true.
Human beings think about themselves.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They're not,
Yeah.
They aren't thinking about you.
No.
Like until you like make yourself unignorable to them. Like as a performer or something like that, they are not thinking about you. They're thinking less about you now than ever before.
Yeah.
So it's so freeing to just be able to go out there and I just want you to be like it's so much more fun if you're not worrying about that shit.
Yeah.
It is. Like, you really get to the fun part, man. Like,
yeah,
because the part you're thinking about is not true. I'm sorry. I don't mean to yell at you at your own podcast,
it's
but
okay.
like, you could be having you could be stressing out and have less and having more fun.
Yeah.
Doing exactly the same gigs.
Yeah.
You know,
I
to
see
the
that.
exact same end.
I see that in you. When you're on stage, you're clearly not thinking about anything but I'm having fun and playing music I like.
I'm connecting with these people.
Yes.
I'm playing the music and connecting with these people.
Yeah,
It's what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not supposed to be doing anything else.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be having a good time, and these people showing these people that they should be having a good time.
Yeah.
You know,
I've gotten way better at that. I've gotten better at being not in my head.
It's so much easier to do the thing because it also it takes up the same amount of time and mental space.
Yeah.
When you're like, I am, entertaining. And now I've always wanted to be an entertainer, but like that thing of like, why I enjoy it so much. And, even that of being able to talk to people when you get done and just, and like that thing, it's like, I enjoy that part too. But, it occupies that space where the anxiety lives now.
Yeah.
And you can just, you can compartmentalize that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's never going away, boy. But
imagine from my perspective. Imagine from
knocking
my
at
perspective.
your back door always.
I finally get Mark on stage with me. We play the set, and afterwards he says to me, "Man, that was really embarrassing for me. Why didn't you do better? Why weren't you better? Why didn't you warn me that you were going to be terrible so I could have said no to this gig?"
Oh, my God.
That's what happens in my head.
God.
But not usually. Just like all of a sudden Mark was on stage with me and I was like, oh, no. What have I done to myself? But then we had a great time.
He did say that?
No, he didn't. Well, he probably did say that, but he didn't mean it. Whereas,
I thought he just like gave you the zinger. I missed that.
Oh, he gives me all the
that whole thing.
No, that was what was happening in my head. Like, what if we get off stage and he's like furious?
Nobody would want to be that confrontational. If it was the worst kid in the world, all they're doing is just like,
I'm leaving, see you.
Yeah, and this is it. I get to, it's your ticket out.
Yeah.
You get to close the door. Just be like, man, I don't think so.
Yeah,
Next
I don't think I'm taking that again. Yeah.
Like, yeah, like that. Like, no one's ever gonna take the time to,
like kind of tell you off about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, fair
Especially at the gig. Like, it would be the worst thing to do. Like, if you saw that someone doing that at a gig, you would never forget that for your whole life. You would.
Oh, wow.
Like, someone would come stop them.
Yeah, probably.
Be like, hey.
Just take it down.
Yeah, like there. Like, usually people would punch each other before that point.
I'm learning
if it
so
was that.
much.
I'm sorry. Listen to me. I know what I'm saying.
So you're from
Decades
Ohio,
in the clubs. I am from Ohio.
where so much cool music comes from.
Right.
Why the hell is that?
I have no fucking idea.
There's
a lot,
music.
man. I was always around a lot of music. Like, the moment I went to like Kent State and started hanging out there, I was always around a lot of really good musicians.
Yeah.
Like, and like a lot of them in the folk and blues sort of area because I was seeking them out. But there was a lot of good shit around Northeast Ohio. Weird music. Also, there was a lot of blues, a lot of that, kind of R&B kind of thing. I mean, but there was also a lot of like, in the 90s, there was a lot of really great metal and heavy music.
And punk rock.
Tons of punk rock.
Yeah.
Like that. Lots of hardcore, because it's a kind of a boring, shitty place to be.
Yeah.
There's not, but
Not
it was relatively, not a lot to do. It's, at that time, post-industrial, Rust Belt thing, cheap to live, nothing, in the 90s. That's, that thing of like, fucking,
Yeah. I read that you started playing guitar watching VHS tapes. Is that accurate?
Well, there were a lot of like seeing like I really made leaps and bounds right when I went to college, and then it was the Stefan Grossman Workshop started putting out these VHS tapes of like folk festival performances from like Newport of
Cool.
the old blues guys, the rediscovered blues guys in the early 60s.
Cool.
Guys like Buckle White and Skip James and Mississippi John Hurt and Furry Lewis, which was my real big one. And I really adopted a lot of that. A lot of what I was learning kind of made sense in his playing. So being able to see that and see a guy do it, because, you know, I was really math phobic, still am. So really had a hard time trying to understand like music theory, and I just get too anxious and just never, you know, sort of worked around it. But I knew I could listen to something for a long time. But then I was also really focused on that particular style of music. I'm like, this is what I want to do. This is the shit that's, you know, going to open up everything else for me.
Cool.
Like I knew that this is what means the most. This seems as like it's something I can do by myself. You know, I don't need anybody else to do this, which was, you know, there weren't a lot of people around me in my life that were good, you know, good musicians. You know, my dad plays guitar, and she was a folk guitar player.
Okay.
And, you know, and played fingerstyle, and, you know, is you know, relatively limited guitar player. Like, you know, we had one electric that he bought off of a student. He was a school teacher when I was younger, and they taught industrial arts, which was like drafting and shop and that, like all sort of like
Sure.
what became Votech, you know, later on. But this was in a junior high school, and he had this kid came in with this, you know, Norma, you know, Japanese one pickup guitar, you know, 60, you know, you've seen hundreds of them.
Yeah.
And he's like, man, this thing, I can't make it sound good. And my dad was like, well, he said, oh, you got to move the bridge, you know, and like that. And he's like, do you want to buy it? You know, probably paid $15 for it or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you know, so I always had an electric guitar and an amp there, but not like, this amp was like an old record player with my dad put a 1/4-inch thing, this Newcomb, right? But it turns out to be an amazing sounding amplifier.
Sure.
You know, but it was just what was there. You know,
Yeah.
They were throwing out this record player. My dad, you know, put a jack in it, you know. But that, so everything socially, like growing up too, was like, you know, my dad had 3 kids, you know. Any social music my dad got to see, you know, was either like we'd go to the Kent State Folk Festival once a year, go to the workshops.
Yep.
We never went to the concerts really, because that'd be at night, but during the afternoon. And, you know, might go jam, you know, in the hallway or whatever. And then, or go to bluegrass concerts at this like high school auditorium about, you know, 15, you know, miles from, in Wadsworth, Ohio, the O.J.
Okay.
Work Auditorium. But I saw Bill Monroe there.
Cool.
Like, it was like, yeah, it was real cool. I mean, it was real touring, you know,
Yeah.
J.D. Crowe and the New South, you know, like that, like bands like that. The country, saw the Country Gentlemen, Charlie Wall and the Country Gentlemen a bunch, which, you know, were heavy duty Nashville bluegrass acts that would come through and play, you know, shows. There'd be, you know, like, it's like funny, bluegrass, like hardcore bands, you know, that I saw later. Of like, there's like 5 bands, you know, on this thing, you know, this guy does a 20-minute set, they're up and bam, done, up, bam, done, up, bam, done. And then the headliner. So I was used to going to Lowe's, and I didn't know anything about Bill Monroe until when I got to realize it was way more crowded than it usually is.
Yeah.
And the guys that would pick in the cafeteria below the auditorium stopped picking to go see Bill Monroe, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know, but it was just, I knew it was louder, and, you know, but it was all these songs that I had heard everyone else play, so I didn't really be like, oh, I remember Bill Monroe's mandolin playing, you know. And I think he was a little bit out of tune, which he was wont to get, and that would, I don't know, it would drive my dad crazy. So I remember him saying something about it, but, you know, I was probably only about, like, you know, 11 or something like that.
Yeah.
But that was the music I got to see. It was all folk music, and that was all my dad's record collection. There wasn't, like, you know, there was early rock and roll, like Buddy Holly, That's Domino, you know, the first Beatles record. There were the like first 4 or 5 Bob Dylan albums, so there was some electric stuff up there.
Cool.
He didn't have 61 though. I never heard that growing up. But he had another side of Bob Dylan, and he had Bringing It All Back Home, which, my freshman year in high school, I was just like, oh my God, this is, the heaviest stuff that's ever been. And I was kind of right, at the time. But from reading the back of those albums, I learned about these blues guys, and that was when Best Buy was king. And weird East Nashville connection years later. So Lucinda Williams' husband was the buyer.
Oh, really?
All that shit. And he put so much indie music into Best Buy and moved so much indie music and roots music.
Oh, cool.
There, because it was right after the Robert Johnson thing blew up.
Yes.
It was a huge selling thing.
Yeah.
And then so they were pressing the Document Records catalog and buying it through Best Buy. No one bought. They're just CDs of 78 recordings. No one in Massillon, Ohio bought it.
Yeah.
But at the front end of it, they probably boosted Document sales by,
Yeah.
huge numbers, humongous numbers. But
Yeah.
I was buying that shit so cheap in the cutout bin.
Yeah.
So I guess they were still getting paid for what,
Yeah.
however their deal worked. But that's really crazy. I didn't find that out, that he was the guy who was doing it, was in charge of doing it. All this roots music, all this
that's
blues and
wild.
all folk blues and stuff like that was specifically him being the buyer for Best Buy.
Yeah.
And then, in addition to that, there were a lot of other small indie labels, a lot of punk and heavy music that was also there that we were also buying.
Yeah.
So kind of crazy. Anyway,
Through
side note.
Through the mastering industry, I remember, or no, I probably don't remember, but I'm aware of it in retrospect because that seems more accurate because I was young. People started getting Grammys for restorative masters, where it's like, something like Robert Johnson, something like some of those old recordings where it really took a lot of work. Like the original, the guy who was my extraordinarily reluctant mastering mentor. Sadly, he's passed away now, but a guy named Joe Palmasio. I want to say, I'm not sure if this is correct, but I'm 98% sure he won a Grammy for a bunch of restorative work on original Hank Williams recordings.
Oh my God. I mean, possibly the most culturally important records in America.
Yeah.
In modern America, pre-rock and roll.
I believe he restored those from tape through analog mastering. I'm pretty sure that's true. I hope I'm not peddling misinformation.
I mean, it would have been that of from there. I mean, would it have been tape? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know. Probably.
You would think.
But, it wouldn't, because, why so
Or
it's
maybe
48, 49? Is that when that
maybe
was?
Maybe he was.
When did he die?
From
51?
Oh, I have no idea.
I think so.
Maybe from wax pressings or something.
That's a Nashville crime. We don't know when Hank Williams died. Should have a tattooed on you, boy.
So
you forget your raisin, Fresco.
Nobody expects me to know anything about that. That idiot who plays rock and jazz.
No further questions.
Yeah. So from all this folk music, from your dad being a finger picker, is that where your technique comes from? You are such an interesting person to watch play guitar because you're using, is it banjo picks?
Well, yeah. They were, I started on just regular finger picks and just being, and because, my nails just tore up, when I would do it.
Yeah.
And my dad played metal finger picks, Dunlop and a thing. And, I was trying to play harder and play faster and stuff like that. And I was really so I switched to the plastic one. So I had a little bit more fluidity.
Cool.
You could also kind of backstroke a little bit on them. I'd seen some players be able to do that were using the plastic ones. And, but I started to get tendonitis real bad. It was too tense. I didn't know anything about technique. I was trying to play hard, playing acoustic guitar, you know, and coffee house, stuff like that. So I'm playing
Trying to project.
hard as I can.
Yeah.
You know, which not, you know, didn't let the guitar do the work. I realized it's making the guitar quieter by hitting it harder. You know, I didn't understand that yet. So a guy that owned a guitar repair shop, a guy named Roger Thurman, who's still in Kent, Ohio, and I went to school at Kent State University in Ohio. He told me about these Alaska picks that he had been using. He was a flamenco guitar player and builder, and he said you should try these out. And I tried them. Like, man, they're, you know, I kind of dig them, you know, and I could use the skin, so they act like a fingernail. I mean, I guess we've got video here. I could show them. These are actually the brass ones, but they act like a fingernail. They sort of slide over here. I've put electrical tape around there because they would get sweaty, but like there. But I can still use the skin of my finger. Now at first they're super uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know, until you build up a little bit of a callus. But I mean, they don't hurt any. You know, after a while. And then I used a thumb pick as well.
Okay.
But this is a really cool, the golden thumb pick. I love this.
Yeah.
With that little tab, like you can do like windmills and it never flies off. It's not too tight, so I feel like you don't feel like you're like pinched to death.
Yeah. And you're using these three? Is that the usual setup?
These three, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And you do that when you play electric guitar as well?
I do. Dude,
Okay.
This is how I play guitar.
That's
I play
so
guitar,
cool, man.
unless I'm playing just bare fingers, you know, which is not often, but is fun to do, like pull them off for like an Albert King thing or something like that. So it's all based around like learning about like basically Lightning Hopkins and that kind of learning that. And so that was able to translate to, and also Elmore James and Muddy Waters. They both, you know, that generation of guys, the first generation of electric guys, and maybe part of the second before everyone, they all played with the thumb and finger pick.
Cool.
Or usually one. Doc Watson, you know, Merle Travis used a thumb and one finger pick. I could never pull it off with just one. So, you know.
Yeah.
But it seemed like that generation of guys had a thing and they all used the same thing. And I consciously thought, like, that's a thing that connects them. That's why their music is heavier than this other, you know, stuff around me.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be like that. I want to figure out where that's coming from.
Yeah.
And I feel this is where it starts. And then just, you know, enjoyed, you know, just being such a nerd. I just enjoyed learning about it. And like, I'm just, you know, like, oh, this guy's, you know, he made these 78s and it's this thing. And and he used this tuning and all that. And I thought it was so cool. And also they could it was a thing where they could entertain by themselves, you know.
Yep.
I grew up listening to like Pete Seeger records, you know, for my dad's collection more than anything, and hearing him play these like concert halls with these rapt audiences and things like that, you know, that was how I thought gigs are supposed to go. You know, I didn't realize, you know,
they're not listening.
They're not like that. Like, that's not how gigs go.
No.
And there hadn't been gigs like that since Pete Seeger, you know, like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's a different world. You live in a different place. And then it took years to figure out that, like, those guys that played, like, you know, like, I thought, like, the moment, the absolute second that they could plug in, they fucking did.
Oh, yeah.
Immediately. Did not hesitate. Figured it out right now. All right. All right.
Go.
All right. I'm playing more dances. You know, more work, you know.
So was Elmore James in your dad's collection?
No, but I'd read about him on the back of records, and then like there was like I heard Paul Butterfield on like a folk song 65 compilation my dad had. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And this is like, you know, I remember at the time I didn't dig the singing. I thought the band was cool, but then I was like, that was also when I saw that. There was a tape called Howlin' Wolf, the Real Folk Blues, you know, at Bus, you know, in a tape, you know, and I heard that. I'm like, what is this? You know, and Built for Comfort and 300 Pounds, which we play in the Tiger Beats, like that. This huge sounding records of Howlin' Wolf.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just like, oh my God, you know, what voice sounds like? Like I never heard a voice like that.
For my money, the only person who does Howlin' Wolf as good as Howlin' Wolf is you.
Well, dang man, he's my favorite. And it took a long time to kind of figure out the technique, you know, how he does it, do that voice and to do it so it's not a cartoon.
Yeah.
But like, you know, it is.
To
and
like
it's,
pay respect to it.
right. Because you don't want to ape a vocal thing. You know, you don't want to ape an accent. You know, that's something that was hard to. It takes a long time to learn when you want to you know, I was a folkie, so I knew this thing. I understood like preserving tradition. I was around a bunch of older folkies when I learned to play. Yeah. You know, at school. And was essentially playing folk music, you know, on my first Monday residency, you know, a little coffee house right off campus. Yep. And that thing, and so it was that, you know, once I figured out, like, man, you know, you can plug in and it's the same thing, you know, people can hear you now, and kind of shaping that and realizing how like those things were more of a bridge than just sort of like a door closing on something. Yeah. You know, it's still connected, you know, and you can still have those influences through these other things. You know, you can still be informed by something cool and still have something that seems modern. Yeah. You know, because all that shit sounds modern to me, man. You know, like, is there a meaner sound than Elmore James's guitar? You know, like with any, you know, you can put it on in front of any guitar player. You know, and it's just like, and they're like, that thing sounds like it's going to goddamn explode. Yeah. You know? Yeah. Like the Lightning Hopkins Herald sessions, like you can put that on for anybody and they're just like, yeah, this is gnarly. Yeah. Like and it's so country. It's so right off the farm. Yeah. And like, but it's still urban and grooving and effective and emotional. Like, so that was, you know, that's sort of where I'm from. And it was, you know, there was a environment in Northeast Ohio, you know, and little clubs, and that you could cultivate that thing.
It's so cool.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I was having to play, you know, but I was also playing long gigs, you know, from the very beginning, playing, you know, knowing you have to entertain someone for 3 hours or 4 hours or something like that. You know, that was the thing of knowing you have to be strong enough to do that. Yeah. So going up, you know, any asshole can play open mic. You know, you don't want to do that. No. Anymore. You know, we want to be better than open mic. You don't want to try something out. You want to be the thing that other, you know, that thing. And so I don't know, I guess I wouldn't say ambitious that way, but I wanted to be something. You know, I wanted to be noticed. Yeah. You know, for that. You know, I wasn't like a flamboyant, you know, which I should have been. If I'd been more of a showman or something like that, or a promoter, you know, I got to use.
But you learn over time.
Yeah, to a degree. But like that of like, of just getting people. You know, I spend it more of as developed a career of just like refusing to be ignored, like that more so than like making this thing that people want to come see.
I love that too.
You know, I mean. We're both here. You are going to pay attention.
I have a microphone.
Yeah.
Shut your mouth and listen.
So that and a raging ego.
Yeah. I started off at 21. Well, I mean, I started off at 13 and VFWs and stuff, but my real first gigs where I was playing 3 and 4 hours was at 21. Yeah, but you're playing in
VFWs at 13? That's amazing.
Dude, I was playing bars when I was 13.
That's crazy. What is that? What is that story?
I was like one of the only kids around that could play some leads.
So you were like the lead guitar kid in your town? Is that like you were like the prodigy kind of thing?
No, I wouldn't say prodigy.
But like, so you were playing with like a family member's band? Tell the story.
Oh my God.
Just
no. There's no music in my family. There's no music in my family. It's funny. This Back to the Future poster here was the most thoughtful gift from my friend Anthony. This is the moment that made me start playing guitar. I was just another suburban kid who wanted his dad to pay attention to him, wanted his dad to be like, you know, here's a hug, I love you, son. Mm-hmm. And of course, you know, Didn't happen until I was much, much older. But when I was, 7, 8 years old, I saw Back to the Future, and he's got this Van Halen cassette, and he's in that costume torturing his dad with the Walkman. And I was like, well, if I could just do what Van Halen is doing on that cassette tape, then nobody's going to be able to ignore me. Exactly what you're saying. And so I started playing electric guitar, and I don't know, there was this weird little obnoxious guitar culture in my shitty hometown where there's all these guys that wanted to be kind of like the second call for Dawkin. If Dawkin wanted a new guitar player.
Right on.
And all of us 13-year-old, that sort of stuff. And the rest of our town.
And this is outside of Boston? Or
this is Western Massachusetts.
Okay,
yeah. Just nothing there.
Okay,
no excuse for it. There's no excuse for Western Massachusetts until you get to Lee, where there's Tanglewood and all that beautiful stuff. Where I grew up, there's no excuse for it.
Yeah, fairly suburban, pretty just sort of,
Just lame.
Yeah.
Just lame and white and...
Yeah, very similar.
Yeah.
Like that thing.
Yeah. And so, everybody else was like, well, listen to this tone deaf kid. He wrote a song, and that's better than what you guys are doing. And in our minds, me and the 4 other guitar drummers, we are prodigies. Mm-hmm. And we're just playing fast and stupid and without taste or talent.
But you got to play some bars.
Got to play some bars. Actually,
as kids,
the first bar we ever played was 3 doors down from the guitar shop. I just walked in and I was like, hey, you guys have a stage and a PA. Me and my friends want to play here. And the guy was like, you're underage. You can't play here. And I was like, yeah, but there's got to be a way around that. I just walked in. There's no cops.
What an asshole.
Exactly. That's going to be on my headstone someday. Just such an asshole.
So what happened?
He basically said, well, you're going to have to do the X's on your hands, and you're going to have to bring out this many people, and, we're going to charge them this much at the door, and we're going to keep that because we're not going to sell nearly as much booze if it's a bunch of 13 and 15-year-olds in here. And so me and 4 other bands, we just packed the joint with our idiot friends, and our parents sat in the back and drank and these guys suck. And and we did that for a couple of years.
Wow.
Yeah. My first band that played there was called Bleeding Envy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff?
Just thrash metal, dude.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, man. Just
awesome.
We wanted to be Metallica, but we didn't have any chops,
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
It's like more metal focused, kind of.
Totally thrashy, yeah.
What year is that?
This would have been, I was in 9th grade, so it would have been 1998, 97.
Oh, youngster. Okay.
Yeah.
So, oh, wow. So, post-hardcores happened, all this stuff. You guys are thrashing for real.
Yeah.
Cool.
The coolest thing we ever did was we covered Seek and Destroy by Metallica, and I learned that solo obsessively.
Nice.
And what was true then is so true now.
Man,
is when you play a great guitar solo, it's just dorky dudes who care.
Dude, I could listen to Kill 'Em All right now.
Yeah,
right now.
So good.
I was good. That Metallica was a huge part. This would have been. It was late 80s, so it would have been man, when did And Justice for All came out?
And Justice was the 4th album.
Yeah, so it would have been
probably
the first one without Cliff.
Yeah, probably 80. No,
88, 89?
Yeah, I was thinking 89, but would have been, it must have been, right? Because Black Album was 90, 91.
Yeah.
I think.
I don't know. Could we fact check?
We can fact check if you want.
All right.
Jason.
All right.
Jason, when did And Justice for All come out? It's more fun to yell at Jason.
I see.
Yeah. See, and that's such a fun sound.
Is it? It's sort of
88 And Justice for All.
88. Okay, so it would have been 88, 89. I remember listening.
Thank you, Jason.
Listening to One for the first time, drinking a warm Mickey's Big Mouth in the back of Chad Price's car, and smoking a doob, like maybe like smoking a real joint for the first time, getting just blown out, driving around, listening to And Justice for All for the first time. Just unbelievable. I'll never forget that day as long as I live.
And Justice for All, like, it had that weird Segovia aspect to it.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, what are we listening to right now? Is this Battery, or is this some brilliant classical guitar player playing fugues for us? What is happening?
Yeah. So, I mean, I didn't like what happened after that. You know, I've just never, the Black Album is nothing, just absolutely nothing to me.
Really?
Yeah, none of it. I'm just like, they were such a good band right up until then. They were so, like, even, I don't know, and maybe it is, like, you know, I think Jason Newsted's an amazing guy, and I love what he's done for metal. Yeah. And I love that he just finally had enough. Yeah. And was just like, it's not worth it. Yeah. It's not, even though they became a bigger band, and, like, I enjoy all the legacy stuff, and, like, but he's just like, enough is enough.
I saw this beautiful interview with him recently.
Oh, yeah?
He was talking about And Justice for All. It was an old interview, but I just saw it recently. And he just wasn't buying into the whole, well, there's not enough bass. He was just like, no, this was an important album. This is an album full of brilliant music. If anybody has a problem with it, they have a problem with me. Like, this is real. This is important. Mm-hmm. And it's like, imagine being that egoless where they've basically muted all your tracks and you're still there being like, no, this was a thing. This was an important
Played him every night.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You know,
and he obviously wrote the bass lines.
And they couldn't do it without him.
No.
You know.
Man. Yeah, that was... It's funny, I don't talk about it very often, but that's definitely my favorite Metallica album.
Man, I don't know. I really dig a lot Ride the Lightning. Quite a bit. Like, it's so thrash.
Creeping Death is the coolest song ever.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
I love Slayer.
Man,
I love Slayer. I
wish I was cool enough. All those other guitar kids in my high
up
school,
until like the 90s albums, I don't really, like there, but like they were, they were just, they never changed. They were,
that's
they were,
very
there was
true.
they were what they were at the beginning. There's what they are at the end. Yeah. And, they were just, and the energy that like they put out and just how brutal and like, every time you're just getting, all those crazy angular, crazy angular riffs, all that stuff. Like, it's just, I didn't dig a lot of other bands that copped Slayer's thing, but I liked Slayer, Like I said, and I was done with Metallica after And Justice for All, which is an album I loved. I just heard that next day, I'm like, fucking garbage. And, like there, no, thank you.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. Just,
man, sad but true. That, I think there's this correlation for me between, it's probably a really obscure government mule song, but Sad But True, and I think You Know What I Mean by Government Mule from the last album with Woody, Life Before Insanity. There's this tune called I Think You Know What I Mean, and it's the same draggy, low sort of guitar energy that it's just like, wow, this is what it means to play something that's truly intrinsically badass and isn't showy.
Yeah.
It's
interesting.
Yeah.
But like,
it's okay. You don't have to like it.
Yeah. I don't know. Cause I dig the Mule, especially with that, when Woody was in the band, but like that, there was a lot that slow grinding thing. I think I like that. Like I just heard other bands do it as their thing. And I'm just like, now you're copping that. Like, and I don't know. Also, James, I don't know. Maybe it was James's singing. I don't know. It was just like that one there. I was just like, this is not for me.
Oh, cool. Let's
Okay.
Let's
get out of here.
No.
Oh.
I was going to say, let's turn on a dime there with singing, right? Because you're not just a guitar player, you're a singer. And, like, I don't know what the hell's happening, but what the hell is happening? When you open your mouth, crazy shit comes out. It's amazing. Like,
thanks,
how does that happen, right? So you start playing guitar.
Well, my dad was a good singer.
Was he?
Is
Okay.
a good singer, yeah. You know, and you know, he was always projecting. And we're hearing, you know, and I'm hearing a lot of, you know, these folky things of like, so you learn kind of technique that you want to be heard. So, you know, I got learned to sing loud and, you know, not be ignored, you know, that thing, use, you know, your thing. And then also of like singing to the back of the room. And hey, as long as you're singing to the back of the room, keep, you know, do a little that, and people think you're looking at them. Yeah. You know, so you're engaging people.
Livingston Taylor told me that.
Yeah, and like there, like, you know, just kind of check out the exit sign, and you're looking over the heads.
Yep.
Keep your eyes open, and that sort of was part of it. And,
yeah.
And then now, but of course, so you can see people react, so you want to hear you. And then, you know, then started to hear singers like B.B. King and Ray Charles and like all these, and then The Wolf and Lightning Hopkins. And having, you know, those guys and Elmore James and hearing them go to really the top of their range.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and not break, you know. And that was, and it's also at the time, you know, like Motley Crue and Poison and all that stuff is
way
around.
Out there.
And I'm just like, man, this fucking shit ain't for me at all.
Yeah.
Like,
but still, that
all. And
really
then every
high
one of my
top
friends,
of their range.
yeah, it's like that of like there was no, you know, that style of singing. Oops, pardon. But that style of singing just didn't think where there was, you know, these blues and soul singers, you know, like say I heard Sam Cooke, and I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like, what is this of like having those guys, and then also, you know, guys like Skip James and Reverend Gary Davis, who was really hollering singer, you know, really had a crazy voice, and Son House and some of those guys were like really kind of hollering kind of singers, but you know, it didn't sound like, you know, white guys hollering. Started to get sort of, you know, affectation of, you know, they immediately put that on. I'm like, man, it's not, you know, it's singing. It's not a Hollywood, you know, Halloween costume, you know, like, so I don't know. I always just sort of like always really dug singers and really tried to mimic them. And like I said, watching VHS tapes of these guys when they'd sing, you know, I could sort of see how they'd, you know, they react, like relaxed, you know, and they're also live performances, so how they're different from, you know, recordings and things like that. And that was a big, then realized so you sort of develop technique a little bit, and then, you know, realize just, you know, oh, I did that too hard and it hurt, and I, you know, like there, so I got to come, you know, finding your boundaries and things like that. But it was always working on it even more than the guitar, always singing in the car.
Oh wow.
Always practicing singing.
Okay. Like
as much as guitar as anything. Like,
I mean,
which is like, you know, crazed loner makes you got a lot of free time, you know.
Well, it's funny. Maybe I'm revealing more about. Maybe it's more of, I don't know. What strikes me is the courage to even open your mouth for the first time and try to sing like that. Like, I could be in a soundproof bunker without anybody within 5 miles of me. And if you said, hey, try to sing like one of these old blues guys. No. If you called me on the phone and said, there's nobody within 5 miles of you, you're in a soundproof bunker, go ahead and try to sing like one of these old blues guys. No. Because it's going to sound so stupid, and I'm so afraid of just hearing myself, even if nobody else can hear me. How do you get over that fear of, like, how can anybody sound like one of these guys? To be able to push through it and develop that technique. Is that a real question? I don't know if it's a real question.
Yeah, no, that is. It is. It's, you know, it's, you know, failure.
Yeah.
You know, it's trying and failing, trying and failing, trying and failing.
Yeah.
Trying not quite failing as bad, not quite failing as bad. But, you know, like, I can really sing Howlin' Wolf now. I'm 51 years old. Like, I couldn't really do it at 30. I was close. I could do it a little bit, but not longer than a song or two.
Okay.
Not, you know.
Yeah,
like
I
there,
noticed that
like,
about you, too. You come off stage, and you're like, wow, he must be hoarse, and you're fine.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
That's crazy.
It's just, you know the limit.
Yeah,
but it's also that thing of, like, I mean, we're talking about it, but, like, if I was going to do, like a Howlin' Wolf thing, like, if you hear me howling, calling on my darling, like, doing that, it just all, you sort of push it up through your nails, you know, and there's a lot of volume there, but it's not crazy loud.
Yeah.
Something, you know, Wolf could project through there, but also you can kind of meter it a little bit with a microphone of doing that. But you can also do it, you know, there. But you can only go to a certain point, you know, a certain volume, which you could do with my normal voice, you know, like you can't do that. The Wolf thing is loud.
Yeah.
Like you could, you know, in a room if I could sing there. But, you know, you don't want to be singing that loud anyway.
Yeah.
You know, when you're doing that, because you tend to just lose phrasing, you lose things like that. No,
Yeah.
I'm a loud singer, and I'm a real, you know, dick about people who, you know, sing very quietly and, you know, like that. I'm like, man, put the fucking air out.
Yeah.
You know, give it some.
Yeah.
You know, take some chances. You know,
Yeah.
that's where the cool parts are. You know, what do you got? You know, what do you got? School in the morning?
Man,
that is a quote, David Lee Roth quote via a Henry Rollins story.
Yeah. Bill Hader's story, right?
Yeah, Bill Hader telling a Henry Rollins story.
Man, I feel like I've been singing for 20 years, and it's still hit or miss. Sometimes it's just like, am I tone deaf? Like, I see that video. What happened here? And I don't know, man. I really enjoy song. And I've never been a real singer, I guess. Like, my singing has always been a vehicle for my songwriting.
Well,
but like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm doing pretty good at this, and other times I'm like, why am I not getting better at this? I don't know.
But because you're not doing the reps as much as you are on the guitar.
I think nowadays I'm doing the reps more on voice, but it has been getting better. The improvement is noticeable finally. But
ding. Because it's more embarrassing to practice singing
and there's no
than
joy
anything else on earth. So you have
singing.
to be there's none, zero.
Yeah.
And and it's not like I was going, oh, la, la, doing it. I should have been.
Yeah.
But
that's what I do. I
dumb.
literally sit there on the piano.
Well, that's fantastic. But it's also singing the songs, though.
Oh yeah.
Practicing singing the songs,
Yeah.
and doing and phrasing those songs.
Yeah.
But also, just for me, it was just exhaustive listening all the time, trying to cop those notes, trying to sing it, always in the car, always driving. Driving to gigs, driving back from gigs, driving around, smoking pot around rural Northeast Ohio.
Sounds like fun.
It still is.
Not too bad.
But it's, learning those things of just like nothing else to do. Yeah. And you can't practice guitar while you're driving around. So, but there's, so I don't know. That was always it.
Interesting.
For me.
Cool.
That it was sort of, it's quiet space.
Yeah.
An older and a younger brother, and I had, my, mom and dad at home, and like, there's not, my younger brother didn't give a shit. My older brother was just, he'd be like, it sounds terrible.
Yeah. But then you're in the car and you have privacy.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Cool. Cool.
But also, it just was, was always, singing was always almost more important, which is hard to believe because it was so focused on the guitar, but it was always simultaneous.
Yeah.
It was always like I didn't learn guitar instrumentals. I learned songs. Songs trying to have finger picking and stuff in them or lead guitar. But that was, it was always singing. Singing was always at least half.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't know.
Yeah. It makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah. I think in my heart of hearts, I've always been a guitar player. And at 20, I became pretty serious about songwriting. And yeah, I don't know. I think until I started singing every week in Nashville. I think one of the most
humbling environments on
exactly.
on the planet.
I think in my head, I was always like, well, I'm good enough, right? I'm good enough.
We've heard some terrible singers out there.
Yeah, yeah.
In Nashville.
Well,
Nashville of all places.
Oh, yeah. Well, then you start singing every week in Nashville, and people are like, it's not that good, buddy. But then you start playing guitar in Nashville every week, and they're like, it's not that good, but I'm pretty sure I'm good at least this one thing. But, oh, man, it's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talking about the Tiger Beats.
Tiger Beats, my traditional blues passion project.
Every Monday, 6 p.m. at the 5 Spot. It is... Even though I'm not there every week, I try every week. Literally every week. I'm like, I got to figure out how to schedule. I got to be there, right? Like, there's something so cool about what you guys do. And I'm going to bring up the old lady heckler.
Oh, yeah.
It was, I think it was this magical moment where you saw, like, Pat Sweany, the incredible entertainer who's just been doing this long enough that he just knows how, you just knew how to turn everything back to this woman who was hammered and heckling. And she was not young. So she should have been more familiar with the music that you were playing rather than the music she was calling out for. And so talk a little bit about why don't the Tiger Beats play Texas Flood, play all these, or not Texas Flood, but Scuttlebutt, some original Stevie Ray Vaughan too. Why don't you guys play Johnny Lang? Like, talk
all that
about
stuff.
The importance.
I mean, we don't, the Tiger Beats is sort of, we do like basically 49 to 66, 67. Like there, sort of that great era of like Chicago blues, the West Coast, it kind of gets like the kind of the West Coast, thing, and like, guys like Pee Wee Creighton and that kind of jump blues sort of thing. Yeah. With, so it kind of gets, T-Bone Walker and Lowell Fulsom, but also all that great like Gulf Coast stuff, there's some Swamp Pop in there, but there's also like Gatemouth Brown and Bobby Blue Bland and early B.B. King and Howlin' Wolf, Muddy Waters, We do some Hound Dog Taylor, which he's a real, he recorded in, the 70s, but he's really, his style's from that era. Yeah. And, and very much like Elmore James kind of style. Because we felt like those guys are the building blocks of all the shit. It's absolutely. It's pre-rock, or at least the guys that are playing have cut their teeth and have developed their style pre-rock and roll. So it's not influenced by rock and roll. It's that era of stuff. We're not funkin', it's earlier than that. So it's got a little more connection to there. And it's not, and we don't, we use old, we try to use at least, reproductions of old gear, that of those sounds, that's going to get, and it is. And honestly, most of the time Tiger Beats, the vocals are in the PA. Like we make that sound, like we try to get that sound off the stage, but we give it the energy, of an important performance because it is but also like I was the last generation to see any of those guys alive. And they were old men, and I followed a lot around a lot of old men, of guys, like. And, you'd see him get to it a lot of the time. Every one of the old guys I went to see, and like there were at least a small portion where they really, like, time fell away, and they were back in the moment, and they were giving it. and every bit of their energy was in it.
Yeah.
And they were really, they were free. They got free, and like they would see that, and I saw it a lot with Robert Lockwood Jr. And I saw it. I saw Pine Top a lot, and my now friend, Frank Kukowski, who played guitar with him all these years. I was so fucking jealous of that dude. And he was playing with all these old Chicago cats.
Yeah.
I'd always see it every festival because, all the guitar players died first. Like, all of them, And he was playing with every gig with Willie Big Eyes and Pine Top and all these old Chicago dudes, and now he's a Tiger Beat, just a satellite office in South Bend, Indiana. But he, like, I would always see those guys. They would get hot, but but they were old men. It might take them a long time. They were, have off nights.
Yeah, yeah.
And some nights they didn't get there. There was only that portion was only a minute long. Like, but some guys, really would get there, and I'm just like, I want to. And again, it goes back to seeing like those VHS tapes, like in college, like there, where you get to see Howlin' Wolf play, and you got to see, Muddy Waters play, and like, and Rachel, like, well, like they're giving it everything. They aren't old men there. They're, they might be in their 40s or 50s, but they're going for it. Like they're every bit of energy like that. And I always wanted to, I like to, when you perform, I feel like you've got to be in the moment. You've got to give it everything. It's these people are here to see what, the music deserves it, to put all your energy into it. And that's something I always noticed the blues just never got growing up. Like there, I've seen just shitty versions of it, of guys just using it for vehicles for solos. Or just using, sing a blues lyric over this. I'm like, well, it's not the fucking song, man. Like, it's like, it has a melody, it has changes. It's usually in this key. Just play that song, and it's awesome. And they have these distinctive things. Yeah. So Tiger Beats is to give homage to that and be like, we learn it. We learn it real close off the record. Yeah. We try to get at least the flavor of something. We get the essential elements of that stuff. We try to get the essential elements of the thing. We're not, we're not putting anything to it. We might, and we don't stretch. I mean, we do stretch out sometimes, but it's like nothing is like there
pointlessly.
It's rare. Difference. It's rare. If when Mickey's burning, I go. And he'll stop. He'll stop after 20 more bars, and I'll tell him to keep going. Like that. I like to knock my solos out. I as a guitar player in this environment, and I'm sort of more the front man of the thing. Yeah. I really love when Mickey's fronting a tune that he gives me a solo, and it's just doing 12 bars and out. I love doing that so much. Or 24 bars.
We want
out.
24.
Like everybody wants 24, but it's like you don't have to get it. You don't have to have it.
That's
you
true.
Can do it in 12. A record, and that's another thing we like. Cool. We like to play more songs. Throughout the set, so everything doesn't. Every blues song is at 9 minutes. We want them about. All the songs in Tiger Beats 2 had to be on a 45. That's another thing for the most part.
That's cool.
It's like they're like, and we try to keep it so we get more shit. You give more better representations of all this stuff. Yeah, we can get through a couple artists. We can do 5 Howlin' Wolf tunes. We can do 3 Bobby Blands. We can do a couple Fats Dominoes in there. Cool. We did the Fats Domino 6-pack for a lot of years. Yeah. That eats up a lot of the set. That's You wanted but we'll do Walk You Home. We won't do any solos in that. We just play just like the record. Yeah. That's something I just felt like, and also I really just so disappointed in the people that they really were supposed to be curating this music a little better. And there are guys that do it, but it's very rare that but they aren't just vehicles for solos, man. Yeah.
Couldn't agree more.
It's cool to just knock it out. Yeah.
Sing
a song, verse, chorus, verse, solo, chorus, verse, chorus, out. Yeah. Right there.
A solo is only moving when it's advancing the song.
Right.
Right? Like when a solo speaks to the song, that's why we have guitar solos.
Right. That's why B.B. King is so great.
Exactly.
Because he is absolutely speaking to the emotion and to the intensity of the thing. That's why Freddie King is great.
Yeah.
That is why Albert Collins is great.
Yeah.
Like that's those things, but it's not just about showing off.
Yeah.
Which in Nashville, like when you say you're playing a blues, it just becomes this
wankery
thing. Call it wankery, but it's becomes sort of an acrobatic kind of thing of like, let's show the rubes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, let's get a lick in on this, because it fits, not because it means something.
Yeah.
And like, you couldn't get a more meaningful and emotional player than Hubert Sumlin from the Howlin' Wolf Band. I don't think you could get a more meaningful and emotional player than Wayne Bennett from Bobby Blue Bland's band. Just stay in that thing. It's just those things. It's really, really simple music, but it's hard to play because you've got to keep it in this box. And it's also such ensemble music. And that's another thing is the combo of guys, Jason Smay, shuffle drummer.
Oh, dude.
I don't think there's anybody better in the world.
Yeah.
That has a better shuffle than Jason Smay. There are some amazing guys.
Yeah.
Amazing guys out there but like Jason's, I think he's just the baddest. It's all, it's just the way his nervous system, his blood flows. Like that's what he's playing in his mind when he's not, that's what's the beat that's going on. Like there.
He's living
and locking in. Like another thing is like, I really love drums and I really love in that band being able to lock in with my thumb is the kick drum and this, my upstroke is the snare. And getting to stand next to Jason, like right here, and just be able to lock in like that is such a great feeling. And just to play rhythm guitar in those, because it's all small pieces. All that great music is all these small pieces that know their role. And that's why it's so effective. They deliver all this heavy emotional shit, and you're like in this same pattern. Like they're like their same chord changes.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yep.
Like there, and all of a sudden this is completely different because you have to focus on those parts. What makes it different, not what makes it the same.
Yeah.
Let's like you don't have to when you stop swinging. All of like from there, almost all the music swung. So when you stop swinging, it's monumental. Like there, or if you're just you're playing and it feels like it's swinging, but none of the instruments are swinging is because, everything swung back then. Like kind of, there's that magical thing in those grooves of that era and that time in music. Yeah. Like that really just, it doesn't exist anywhere else. And so that's why we do it, as nerdy as it sounds, but it's also fun dance music. That's another thing. It was only designed to be fun dance music. Yeah. So that's kind of thing. So it's energetic. It's upbeat.
It's like this big emotional release. Like when you sit there and watch the Tiger Beats, it's just like, it's like going to therapy, man. You walk out and you're like, I feel so much fucking better now.
Well, that makes me so happy. But like because it's what it is. I mean, it's like that's how I felt when I listened to all those records. Yeah. All that time. Because I can it's all going on in my mind. Like as there, I could see it. I was a lonely kid. I had a great imagination. I could just see it all in my mind. Then I could do it. Like there, so I knew. I could hear the tapes and I could see those people. Cool. Like that, and that was, I knew you could, people could be affected by it. Yeah. It just, I didn't understand that it's just, that era was invisible to white people. Like no white people saw that. Yeah. Nobody. Yeah. Like, I mean, even going, like I would go see, a couple times would see B.B. King would play every Easter Sunday in Cleveland with Bobby Blue Bland. They do an Easter night show every years. I'm just like, man, like I don't see a lot of white dudes here, like there. And it was, like
with B.B. King, that's surprising. With Bobby Bland,
I mean, you saw more white dudes like there, but also it was just, it was a home folks thing. It was there in the show. And the show was different. Cool. It was fucking great. Yeah. Less so with BB's, like there, but like he definitely it was greasier. He was definitely more down home. Yep. It was right before, he started to have a lot more health, like dementia and stuff, But,
talk to me a little bit about Clarksdale because
Oh, love Clarksdale.
The thing, I mean, yes, please.
Talk to me about Clarksdale.
Yeah, and that's the time when we pour the scotch.
Never tell you about Clarksdale.
The thing about, I mean, thank you, sir. There are so many great blues players. But the thing about a Pat Sweany solo, when the riff gets handed off to Pat Sweany, all of a sudden I'm in Clarksdale. All of a sudden you have that sound, you have that what's the word, that it's like diction. It's the way you phrase, the way you play. All of a sudden we're in Clarksdale. And we have this young shredder who's so freaking brilliant, who's undeniable.
McKinley James, man.
McKinley James is undeniable,
future.
brilliant. But when it gets handed off to you, all of a sudden I'm in Clarksdale.
Well, that's my role in the band too, you know. I mean, but that's also just sort of the palette I paint with, you know, that Delta thing, that old metal finger pick, you know, old school sound. That thing is, I'm definitely there because I can't beat Mickey, you know. I can't blaze like him, you know. I can get it, you know. I can phrase and I can move around, but
that's
you
what
know,
I'm
when
saying.
he can burn, you know, he can burn. I can burn a little. But I can't burn like that.
But
I'm doing
don't
different
need
things. That's, you know.
The same way B.B. King didn't need to. Like, there's no part of it was like, I wish Pat would shred a little bit more. No, it's like, man, I'm living in this moment right now. How did you learn how to color your phrases in this way?
Very much listening to B.B. King.
Okay.
That was very, 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 like that. Listening to B.B. explained so much. And even before I was even really like smart enough to really kind of learn the gig, because you know, like I don't really try to cop it. The BB is his thing, but the way he would phrase, the way he would attack, you know, I mean, obviously he's playing with the plectrum, I'm playing with the thing, and then you know, just sort of how he would also capture time. He would take time, he would leave lots of space and create all this drama, and then just hit the shit out of you, you know, and then. You know, the band comes up, the dynamic of the band. So that kind of thing. Also, when I do that, you know, when Mickey, I purposely just showbiz tricks. When I get Mickey, I cue Mickey to keep going. You know, he's burning.
Yeah.
Come back to me. Changes the dynamic so it draws people in a little bit. And that's my trick. I'm kind of playing the same shit all the time. But I'll play it, you know, I really try to alter the dynamics of it, of like trying to, again, just change a little bit of the atmosphere. You know, turn the air conditioning down just a hair. Yeah. You know, just to kind of see how people, you know, it gives them space to absorb what just happened. Yeah. But also space to participate as well, you know. Because, you know, we do it old school. We do, you know, we very much... It's an old school type show. Just like, you know, I might say, you know, announce him, start applauding before his solo's over, just so we're not holding shit up, but we're, you know, we're keeping that interaction going. But it's always the dynamic. It's always, you know, playing a little softer, a little quieter. Yeah. Or, you know, so when you hit something a little harder, it jumps out, but you've got this thing, you have this wide, you know, tonal sweep. But, you know, if you sort of put, you know, a little shed around it, you know, so you go down quiet here, it seems real quiet, and you're only going up here, you know, then all of a sudden when it's time, you're bam. Yeah. Or when you're really drawing them back, you can get down here, and people are really like oh, he's quieter than, you know, than ever. And that's, you know, I mean, I use it as, you know, basically to shield my lack of, you know, technical vocabulary. But also, it's just something I like. Well, I mean, just saying like that, you know, it's like I'm not you know, outside of this shit, I'm not a real versatile guitar player, you know, like guys in Nashville are. Like, so, but I can do that. Yeah. You know, and it's now it's just sort of on autopilot where I can kind of understand the, you know, where we are. Yeah. Like that. And also I'm good at cueing the band. I mean, you guys that's my one thing. I'm very, very good at cueing the band. Yeah. You know, and even in subtle ways. Because I've just been, sat in and set goddamn adrift and looked like a total piece of shit. You know, I was just there. I'm just like, you couldn't shoot me the two?
Yeah.
You know,
couldn't tell me?
like there,
That's
so that kind of thing. So that's also it. You know, it's a communication thing, but it's also that. But also, like I'm saying, that Clarksdale flavor I'm definitely taking it to an older, that Delta sort of right before, the beginning of Chicago blues, the beginning of that West element, that Sonny Boy thing. That's also the tone. I roll the tone off. I use those. I use usually a hollow body or something. Yeah. Very old school. Pretty dark toned. Mm-hmm. Guitar, with some growl on it. Whereas, Mickey, I usually have it. He's playing that, a little cleaner, cleaner, like clean, like that kind of thing. Again, to broader tonal sweep in the band. We can do as a quartet without keys or something like that. We can cover a lot of ground, a lot of sonic real estate.
And it's such a testament to the sound, the idea that playing guitar isn't in the guitar, it's not in the amp, it's not in the pedals, it's in your hands. And watching you and Mickey, it's always so clear that this sound is, coming from their hands, coming from their soul. Like we're not seeing the result of a great gear budget, even though you guys have beautiful instruments and all that.
Me and Mickey both on PV Pacers. We did a gig a long time ago. Like there, it was exactly the goddamn same. It was so fun. Yeah. It's exactly the same. Yeah. I mean, it's a little more now. Like people are actually showing up, to Blue Monday. We're kind of keeping the gear. Like we're playing. The big boy amps. I'm either the Pro Reverb or the Tweed Pro. Yeah. And he's always playing the Super usually.
Yeah. Yeah, that thing sounds great.
Yeah.
One more thing I want to mention before we wrap up. The day Jeff Beck died, you played this little gig at East Side Bowl. It was just you and your acoustic guitar. And man,
I probably didn't know that Jeff Beck died.
I think we all knew.
Oh, okay.
I think we all knew. Because I don't know. I wish I remembered the date. But it was the first time I had ever seen you solo acoustic. It was the first time I had seen this completely different side of you. It's almost, you were almost playing ragtime. You were playing ragtime.
Yeah, well, if I do that sort of Piedmont ragtime kind of stuff,
that was wild, man. And it was such a great experience in the way that, Jeff Beck, huge influence on the way I play guitar, and obviously not just me. Like everybody who loves playing guitar, there is some element of Jeff Beck in them because he was the most revolutionary electric guitar player, right?
Really was, man.
I mean, and to watch you do this thing I had never seen you do on a day where we're mourning this guitar legend, man, that was one of the coolest things that's ever happened. Like, seeing you do this thing that was just so mind-boggling, just in terms of the coordination, and you're singing over it, and how did you develop that technique?
From playing that country blues stuff, the guy I kind of I sort of studied under, and when I was in college for a little guy, it was a guy named Andy Cohen who was real into Reverend Gary Davis, so he wanted to teach his guys Reverend Gary Davis, but also because of, I was real into that kind of Piedmont kind of style stuff, like Blind Boy Fuller, and I love jug band music. I was really into like the Memphis jug, like the early stuff from the 20s and 30s, Memphis jug band and sort of that almost pre-blues. I was really into what they call pre-war blues, because afterwards sort of Industrial Revolution, electric, swinging, the record business, wider distribute, more people influenced by records, where you had sort of more regional kind of country kind of thing, and a little less blur, between across the tracks, between the repertoire. I love all that stuff, and spent a lot of time listening to that and playing that, of just doing that. But also, you know, it's fun to play through those, you know, those quick ass changes, you know, all of like, you know, and sort of like, you know, the kind of moves into swing and stuff. But like, I don't know, it was always just something I dug, you know, and it was always sort of the repertoire. You couldn't just play straight blues all the time, you know, do a little ragtime thing. I mean, it sounds old timey, you know, and that was sort of, you know, man, it wasn't, at the time, wasn't like, people were like, oh, wow, that's really cool. But a lot of the nerds that I was hanging out with were like way into that shit. And then my friend Eric Noden, who was a former student of Andy's, sort of explained what Andy would try to teach to me. Eric Noden, I wouldn't know what Andy taught me if Eric Noden hadn't really showed me. So, no disrespect, you know, I'm just like that. I just wasn't smart enough. I just didn't know enough to like, you know, and I was already gigging a little bit and like, and playing, you know, and doing some stuff, but I didn't know anything. Like I knew the names of the notes, and I knew the, you know, but I couldn't tell you, you know, the 4-chord in B flat. You know, I didn't really play bar chords, but I was playing, you know, Mississippi John Hurt tunes and Fred McDowell tunes and stuff like that. So cool. Yeah, but like, you know, I didn't know how to do other shit. You know? And then it was sort of that came to thing, but then I was so used to listening to that old time music and that feel and that rhythm. It just sort of, that was just sort of thing I could read, like when you were like, oh, I can read this language. Yeah. I mean, I can't read, you know, music or anything like that, but I could understand where those things were going to.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh, that's the same. That ragtime change is the same as like in Salty Dog and Bluegrass, or it's in the same in Charlie Stone by Larry Johnson, or it's the same as, you know,
it's tonal palette.
You know. Yeah. Yeah. That kind of thing. I'm like, cool. and that's a cool place, and you could also, you learn to, you know, when you're not when you know where the chords are going and it's multiple, it's not just the regular chords. You're like, oh, I can find these licks and I can find these melodies. So that was something that really opened it up, you know, a lot of like even just doing like, you know, you just, when you're chunking chords and you just go up parallel thirds, you know, like there, you think you're, you know, you sound like, you know, oh, I sound like the king of swing, you know, I'm like just going, and then you play a little finger picking thing and it stands out like crazy. Cool. You know, like that. So that came from a lot of Blind Willie McTell was really into Blind Willie McTell and this Blind Willie McTell Curly Weaver record called Pig and Whistle Red, where these awesome guitar duets and singing like duets of like one playing 6-string, one playing 12-string tuned down. So they're playing in different keys. Jeez. Transpo and like, yeah. So badass. So badass. Yeah. Like, just of like all these like, and just, you know, singing like, you know, honey, it must be love and stuff like that. I hear the bell singing, I see visions clear. Like, kind of pop swing kind of tunes. You know, these two, you know, black dudes from Atlanta playing, you know, 12 and 6-string acoustic guitar. Like, just so crazy. Like when you think that's a thing. Yeah. In Atlanta. Yeah. Like there's a style of guys that do that. Like, and there were. Yeah. Like, man. Wow. I feel like I've been going on and on about
it's
two
great.
things like we haven't there. I'm sorry.
Lesson. I got a music lesson today. This is great.
I could be lying about all of it. That's the thing. It's so like, great. No, God, it was so good.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
No more questions.
I'm like, oh, I got to Google all
None of
stuff.
these people exist.
Nope.
Not a single one. I just fucking Kaiser Sosa'd you. Just walked out.
He's just like, riffing, man.
Just walked out. I've just been making up names, telling all the stories. Oh, God, that would be, why don't I do that?
That'd be a great intro.
That would be so good.
Yeah.
That's how I went and just did press all the time. Just like there, just
you have to do Pat Sweany.
Made a complete like that. Well, man, you know, and having
know if
this
he's talking about the blues or if it's a Dickens novel. Amazing.
I think that was an Elmore Leonard. That was One Punch. What the fuck are you doing, man?
I think that was Shaky James, dude.
It's like, oh no, and then leave. No more questions. No more questions.
Pat, thank you so much.
Thank you, man. What a blast,
dude. Pleasure.
Man, I'm telling you. This is the Chelsea Swing.
though I was intended to put a big chunk of it in the back. Save for a rainy day, let's all look for the good it can do. And I was thinking that maybe with me and you could go off to someplace quiet and get something to eat. Over my shoulder, out of my head, late but now it's early, haven't even been to bed. Hard enough to sleep at night, baby, not to drink and not to fight. Little brother boy, you know, so be keep stopping by. Time crowd just smoking and drinking and talking loud. If you having any fun yet, baby? Well, baby, don't you think sure this place is always such a mess? It's home for me for now, I guess. Little brother boy, you know, so be you stopping by. Over my shoulder, out of my head, late but now it's early, haven't even been to bed. Hard to sleep at night, baby, not to drink, not to fight. Little brother boy, you know, so be you stopping by. Enough to spend on you, baby, even though I was intended to, baby, put a big chunk of it in the bank. Save for a rainy day, let's all look forward to it again. And I was thinking that maybe me and you could go up to someplace quiet and get something to eat. Over my shoulder, out of my head, late but now it's early, I haven't even been to bed. Hop to sleep at night, not to drink and not to fight. Little brother boy, you know, so you keep stopping by.